Ever wonder how a giant company actually knows where all its money is going? I mean, it's not just one big pile of cash, right? Well, it turns out understanding a company's wallet is kind of like exploring two totally different worlds, but they're connected. And figuring out that connection, that's the secret to saving a ton of money. So let's get right to it. What in the world connects a simple bottle of soda to a huge multi-million-dollar marketing campaign? I mean, on the surface, you'd say absolutely nothing, right? One's a thing you can hold, the other's, an idea. But the answer to that question, well, it's the key to running a much smarter, way more efficient business. And that brings us to our first part here. Let's call it a tale of two spends. Yeah, we're going to treat this like a simple story. Because honestly, when you boil it all down, it's really just about getting to know two main characters. Okay, so think about this for a second. Every single dollar a company spends, doesn't matter if it's on sugar for its soda, a brand new server for the IT guys, or the rent for the office, every cent can be dropped into one of just two buckets. That's it. And just getting your head around that simple split is, you guessed it, the key to unlocking some serious efficiency. All right, so let's actually define the difference between these two. Because once you get this, you'll have this super powerful way of looking at pretty much any business out there. Okay, first up is what we call direct procurement. The easiest way to think about this is it's the makes the product money. It's all the ingredients, right? For a company like Coca-Cola, we're talking about the sugar, the water, the bottles, the caps, literally everything the customer can see, taste, or touch when they buy the thing. And then on the flip side, you've got indirect procurement. This is the runs the business spend. This is all the stuff that's absolutely essential, but it's happening behind the scenes. We're talking IT services, those big marketing campaigns, shipping, office supplies, heck, even the cleaning crew. You don't actually see any of that in the final product, but let's be real, the business would grind to a halt without it. So that's the big idea right there. Direct spend makes the product, indirect spend runs the business. And here is the absolute crucial takeaway. You just can't manage these two worlds with the same game plan. It doesn't work. And trying to, well, that's exactly where so many companies go wrong and start losing money. Now, this isn't just some, neat little trick for accountants. No way. The financial hit you take from ignoring this simple difference it's huge, absolutely massive. See, when a business just lumps all its spending into one giant messy pile, it creates this kind of silent leak, just draining profits away. Experts have a name for it. They call it spend leakage, and it's this massive hidden cost that plagues tons of companies. And the number, it's pretty staggering. Research shows that just by splitting spending into direct and indirect, and then managing each one the right way, companies can cut that spend leakage by up to 20%. That is a huge chunk of change that goes straight back to the bottom line. And what's really wild is that for most companies, that indirect spend, all the runs a business stuff that nobody really pays attention to, is actually the bigger slice of the pie. So what does that mean? It means the single biggest chance to save money and get more efficient is hiding right there in plain sight. Okay, so how does this actually play out in the real world? Let's take a look at a company that has this stuff down to a science. Coca-Cola. Seriously, their playbook is a masterclass. Coca-Cola's secret is pretty simple. They don't have one strategy for buying stuff. They have two. They use this really focused two-pronged attack with a totally different specialized game plan for each type of spending. Let's actually break that down. So, for their direct spend, the ingredients, their number one non-negotiable goal is quality and consistency. Every can has to taste exactly the same, right? So they have this super tight, rigorous management of their suppliers to make sure every single batch is perfect. But when it comes to indirect spend, things like marketing agencies or IT support, the goal completely shifts. Now it's all about cost efficiency. So what do? They bundle their buying power, work with fewer partners, and get way better deals. See? Two different spends, two totally different strategies. It's brilliant. So the big question is, how can you use this? That brings us to our final part, your strategic checklist. We can boil this entire idea down to two really clear, really simple steps. Look, it really just comes down to this. Rule number one, treat your direct and indirect spending differently. Just stop throwing it all into one big pot. And rule number two, match your strategy to the goal of each category. For direct spend, you're obsessed with quality. For indirect spend, you're hunting for cost savings. That's it. It's just about using the right tool for the right job. And that is the real power here. Once you understand this simple tale of two spends, you're basically equipped to look at any business in a totally new way. So I'll leave you with this question to think about. Whether it's for your own company or maybe even just a side project you're working on, what hidden savings, what hidden efficiencies could you unlock just by looking at your spending through this new lens?